The roar of the crowd fills the arena, the air thick with anticipation. The lights dim as the atmosphere electrifies two warriors, each a legend in their own right, stand on the precipice of a showdown that fans across the world have only dreamed of. Imagine, if you will, Conor McGregor, the brash and charismatic former UFC champion, stepping into the octagon, his eyes burning with the fire of a competitor who has tasted both the glory and the sting of defeat. On the other side, a fighter whose calm demeanor hides a relentless machine of precision, Islam Makhachev, the silent storm, the rising king of the lightweight division. What happens when these two titans collide? What happens when McGregor's lightning-fast strikes meet Makhachev's unyielding grappling and smothering pressure? The world of mixed martial arts has seen its fair share of thrilling matchups, but few have the same raw energy as this one. McGregor, known for his knockout power and flashy style, has always lived in the limelight, each fight an extension of his larger-than-life persona. Makhachev, by contrast, has risen through the ranks with a quiet, almost calculated approach, his technique a masterclass in controlling distance and suffocating his opponents. The question that echoes through the minds of fans isn't just who will win, it's how the fight will unfold when two contrasting forces, one explosive and the other methodical, go to war. As the clock ticks down to the moment of truth, one can only wonder, will McGregor's swagger and showmanship be enough to overcome Makhachev's ironclad strategy? Or will Makhachev's suffocating wrestling style be too much for the Irishman's quicksilver strikes? It's a fight that pits speed against technique, power against precision, confidence against control. And as the fighters step into the cage, the tension rises, knowing that one mistake, one slip-up, could change the course of history. Conor McGregor, his chin held high, seems to swagger his way to the center of the octagon, his aura undeniable. The crowd goes wild, chanting his name, echoing across the arena. He's no stranger to the spotlight, he's been here before, and he knows exactly how to feed off the energy of the crowd. But this time, there's something different. His opponent, Islam Makhachev, stands calmly, almost imperceptibly focused, as though the noise surrounding him doesn't even register. His composure is a stark contrast to McGregor's flair, but it's this very composure that's earned him the respect of the MMA world. Makhachev isn't just a fighter, he's a tactician, a chess master in the cage. And as the referee signals for the fight to begin, it's clear that this will not be just another battle. It's a clash of ideologies, a collision of styles that will push both men to their limits. The fight begins with the typical intensity, both fighters sizing each other up, their eyes locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse. McGregor, his hands low and his stance unorthodox, starts moving forward, his eyes searching for the opening, the moment where he can unleash his devastating left hand. He feints, looking to bait Makhachev into a mistake, but the Russian isn't so easily fooled. His footwork is flawless, his head movements subtle, and he never seems to be in range. McGregor's left hand, a weapon that has decimated many opponents before, remains just out of reach. Makhachev moves in with a jab, testing McGregor's defense, his approach deliberate, measured, each movement setting up his next. He's not here to play games, he's here to impose his will, to drag McGregor into deep waters and drown him in a sea of pressure. And when the moment comes, it's Makhachev who strikes first. A perfectly timed takedown, swift and clinical, plants McGregor on the canvas. The crowd's cheers turn to gasps as the fight transitions to the ground, and McGregor's face shows the first signs of discomfort. The notorious one is rarely on his back. His aura has always been one of control, of dominance. But here, in this moment, he's on the defensive, struggling to escape the iron grip of Makhachev. McGregor scrambles, trying to create space, but Makhachev's grip is unrelenting. The Russian methodically works to pass guard, inching closer to McGregor's back, ready to lock in a choke. The Irishman fights with everything he has, his arms flailing, trying to create separation, trying to reset the position. It's a battle of wills now, with McGregor's desire to get back on his feet clashing against Makhachev's desire to keep him there, to keep him trapped, like a bird caught in a net. McGregor knows this fight is far from over, but Makhachev is controlling the pace, dictating the terms of engagement. And then, just when it seems like Makhachev is on the verge of securing a dominant position, McGregor does what he does best. He finds a way out. A burst of energy, a slick reversal, and McGregor is back on his feet, the crowd roaring in disbelief. It's a testament to his heart, his refusal to stay down, his unshakable belief that no fight is ever truly over. But Makhachev, calm as ever, isn't rattled. He resets his stance, eyes narrowing, and begins his methodical pursuit once again. This is where the fight begins to shift. McGregor, known for his power and precision, finds himself out of his element. Makhachev, with his unmatched ability to control the fight, continues to apply pressure, wearing McGregor down bit by bit. Every time McGregor seems to find an opening, Makhachev is there, ready to close it. The Irishman's explosive energy is starting to fade, the weight of Makhachev's suffocating style becoming more and more apparent. As the fight drags on, McGregor's movements slow. His famous left hand, once a weapon of mass destruction, begins to feel like a distant memory. Makhachev, however, is unfazed. His takedowns keep coming, each one more seamless than the last, like clockwork. McGregor fights on, but it's clear the longer the fight goes, the more Makhachev's game plan is taking its toll. And as the second round nears its end, McGregor looks up at the clock, his chest heaving. The stakes are higher than ever, the fight teetering on the edge of something more. Will McGregor find his way back into the fight, or is Makhachev's suffocating style too much to overcome? One thing is certain, this battle is far from over. The cage doors are still closed, and anything can happen. But as McGregor stands up, brushing the sweat from his brow, something shifts. Is it the promise of redemption, the spark of the fight that refuses to die? Or is it something darker, the realization that no matter how hard he pushes, Makhachev might just be too much? Only time will tell, as the clock ticks down and the fight continues. What happens next? You'll have to watch to find out. As the seconds tick down, the energy in the arena pulses with an electric intensity. Conor McGregor's eyes, once burning with the confidence of a man who's conquered worlds, now flicker with uncertainty. He's been here before, on the edge of defeat, with his back against the wall, but this feels different. This fight, against Islam Makhachev, isn't just about skill. It's a battle of wills, a test of endurance and heart that will define both of these fighters for years to come. McGregor's mind races, replaying the moments when he had the upper hand in his previous bouts, when his left hand sent opponents crashing to the canvas. But against Makhachev, nothing comes easy. Makhachev is a methodical force, his confidence built not from flashy moments, but from the certainty of his technique. Unlike McGregor, who thrives in chaos, Makhachev seeks control, order. Each of his movements is calculated, a masterclass in precision. As McGregor continues to circle, looking for any opening, Makhachev seems almost to be anticipating his every move. The tension between them grows, the fighters locked in a psychological battle as much as a physical one. McGregor, knowing that his moment to strike could slip away, starts to question himself, his own ability to land that signature punch that has defined his career. Islam, on the other hand, doesn't seem fazed. His strategy isn't just to win this fight, it's to break McGregor. Each takedown is more than just an attempt to gain control. It's a statement, a reminder that no matter how fast McGregor is, no matter how powerful, he is still at the mercy of Makhachev's grasp. For Makhachev, this is the ultimate test, the moment when he can cement his place as the new face of the lightweight division, the heir apparent to the throne McGregor once held. But behind the scenes, the stakes are higher than anyone realizes. In the world of mixed martial arts, rumors swirl like smoke, and both fighters are surrounded by a complex network of influences. McGregor's camp, once a tight-knit family of loyalists, now feels fractured. There are whispers that his infamous lifestyle outside the cage, his brash persona, his business ventures might be taking a toll on his training, his focus, his very ability to perform at the highest level. Some say that McGregor's best days are behind him, that the fire that once burned so brightly has begun to flicker, slowly fading into the background noise of his past achievements. And then there's Makhachev's camp. They operate in silence, away from the limelight, yet their preparations are far from ordinary. Rumors of unseen footage, secret training sessions, and mysterious new techniques abound. Some claim Makhachev has unlocked a level of grappling that the MMA world has never seen before, an unstoppable force that's been kept hidden until now, unleashed only for this fight. The quiet intensity of his training has become a legend in its own right. His team is small, but each member is a dedicated machine, working tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure Makhachev is ready for anything McGregor can throw at him. As the second round progresses, the fight itself becomes a microcosm of their larger battle. McGregor's confidence begins to erode with every failed attempt to land a clean shot. The frustration is palpable, visible, in the slight tensing of his jaw, and the way his movements become sharper, more erratic. Every time he tries to engage, Makhachev's constant pressure forces him to retreat, to reset, to rethink. It's clear that McGregor's explosive moments, the ones that made him a household name, aren't coming. Not tonight. Meanwhile, Makhachev senses the shift in momentum. He's not rushing. He's not taking chances. He's playing the long game, waiting for McGregor to tire, to show signs of weakness. His corner urges him to stick to the plan, control the fight, grind down McGregor, and look for the finish when the time is right. His eyes stay fixed, calculating, as he continues to neutralize McGregor's strengths with clinical precision. McGregor's famed left hand, the punch that has silenced crowds all over the world, remains just out of reach, like a ghost that McGregor can never quite grasp. But McGregor isn't the type to go down without a fight. He has always prided himself on his resilience, his ability to overcome the odds. And though he's not known for his ground game, the desperation in his eyes begins to shift. With a sudden burst of movement, he clinches with Makhachev, trying to force a scramble. For a moment, it looks like McGregor might finally be able to break free, to reset the tempo of the fight. But just as quickly, Makhachev locks him in, positioning his body to counter every one of McGregor's movements with ease. The crowd holds its breath, sensing that McGregor might finally break free, or might be locked in for good. The third round arrives, and McGregor's face shows the wear of the battle. The relentless nature of Makhachev's grappling is starting to take its toll, both physically and mentally. McGregor's movements are slower now, his eyes not as sharp, his breathing heavier. He's been in wars before, but this is different. This is not just a battle of skill, it's a battle of attrition. A fight where Makhachev's strategy to wear down his opponent is slowly coming to fruition. Makhachev, on the other hand, remains unshaken. His movements are as calculated as ever, his focus unyielding. Every takedown, every grip, every position seems to flow seamlessly into the next, as though McGregor is simply another puzzle piece waiting to be placed. But even as Makhachev controls the fight, there's something in the back of his mind, something nagging at him. He knows McGregor isn't the type to be beaten easily. He's seen it before, in McGregor's comeback wins, in his moments of brilliance, when everything seemed lost. There's still a part of Makhachev that wonders, will McGregor find that spark again? Will the Irishman surprise him in a way that no one ever expects? As the third round closes, the tension reaches a fever pitch. McGregor, battered but not broken, stands tall, his eyes still burning with defiance. But Makhachev, with the weight of his control pressing down on the Irishman, is prepared for whatever comes next. The fight is far from over, but the question lingers. Does McGregor have one more trick up his sleeve? Or has Makhachev's suffocating style already sealed his fate? The fourth round looms large, and the world is waiting. What will happen when the cage doors close once again? Will McGregor fight back, or is this the beginning of the end for his legacy? Only time will tell. The fourth round begins with an eerie quiet hanging in the air, as though the entire world is holding its breath. The crowd, once deafening in its support of McGregor, is now subdued, unsure of what they're witnessing. McGregor, battered but unbowed, steps forward with a steely determination in his eyes, trying to summon the energy, the magic that has carried him through countless battles before. But Makhachev, with his relentless focus, is like a wall, his gaze sharp, his every movement a reminder of the pace he's set. His calm, almost detached presence contrasts sharply with the tension that crackles in the air. McGregor launches himself into the fight with a renewed sense of urgency. His strikes are wild, desperate, each one more aggressive than the last. He knows that the window for victory is closing, that he needs to land something significant before Makhachev wears him down completely. But Makhachev isn't rushing. He's waiting, reading McGregor's movements, anticipating the rhythm of his attacks. It's clear that the Russian's composure has given him the edge in this fight. With a calm smile, Makhachev effortlessly deflects McGregor's strikes, slipping in and out of range with surgical precision. And then it happens. McGregor, driven by the belief that one clean shot could change the course of the fight, lunges forward with everything he has. For a brief moment, the arena goes quiet. Time seems to slow as McGregor's left hand streaks toward Makhachev's chin, an unmistakable blur of raw power. The crowd holds its breath, expecting a sudden turn of fate. But just as the punch seems destined to land, Makhachev ducks, effortlessly sliding under McGregor's outstretched arm, his timing flawless. With the speed of a predator, he clinches McGregor, spinning him into the cage with a vicious slam. The impact shakes the cage, and McGregor's face contorts in pain. His body, once an instrument of devastating destruction, now feels like dead weight against Makhachev's vice-like grip. The Irishman struggles, his mind racing, but the Russian's control is suffocating. For a moment, it looks as though McGregor is trapped, unable to break free. The crowd, once deafening, now falls into a tense silence, unsure of what they are witnessing. Has McGregor's time come? Is this the end of the line for one of the most iconic figures in UFC history? But McGregor's will to fight is not something that can be easily extinguished. He digs deep, summoning whatever reserves of strength he has left. His legs push against the cage, his hands reaching for Makhachev's grip. In a moment of unexpected brilliance, McGregor manages to land a knee to Makhachev's midsection, knocking the wind out of him for a split second. The shift is subtle, but it's enough. McGregor escapes the clinch, stepping back, his breathing heavy, his eyes wild with the fire that refuses to die. Makhachev, momentarily shaken, resets himself. The fight is far from over. But as the round continues, the unexpected twist arrives, one that no one could have predicted. McGregor, desperate for a way to turn the tide, finds himself in a position he never thought he'd be in. As Makhachev pushes forward, looking to capitalize on his advantage, McGregor manages to catch him off guard. A lightning-fast counter, a move no one had seen coming, and McGregor lands a clean shot to Makhachev's temple. For a split second, everything freezes. Makhachev's eyes widen in disbelief as he stumbles back, his legs buckling under him. McGregor's face lights up, not with the cocky grin he's known for, but with something more primal, a hunger, a realization that he's not done yet. The crowd erupts in a frenzy, uncertain of what they've just witnessed. Was it a fluke? Was it the beginning of a comeback? McGregor doesn't wait for the answer. He presses forward, sensing the opening, the rare vulnerability that has surfaced in Makhachev's once unbreakable defenses. The Russian, still reeling from the unexpected shot, tries to recover, but McGregor is relentless. The Irishman presses the attack, throwing punch after punch, each one harder than the last. The world is on the edge of its seat, unsure of who will emerge victorious from this suddenly unpredictable fight. But just when it seems like McGregor might pull off the impossible, Makhachev, ever the technician, recovers with unsettling speed. His eyes narrow, his focus sharpens, and like a snake striking its prey, he catches McGregor in a clinch once more. This time, Makhachev doesn't hesitate. He drives McGregor to the mat with the force of a freight train, pinning him down with a dominant top position. The shift is swift, and suddenly, McGregor's window of opportunity closes as Makhachev locks in a crushing hold. Now as McGregor struggles on the mat, Makhachev's position seems unbreakable. The Russian's superior grappling has always been his greatest asset, and it's in full display now. McGregor's arms flail, desperate to free himself, but Makhachev has a way of dismantling his opponents piece by piece, draining their will, their energy, their hope. McGregor, never one to go down easily, fights back with everything he has left, but the deeper the fight goes, the more it becomes clear this is a battle of attrition. McGregor's explosiveness is starting to fade, and Makhachev's suffocating style is wearing him down. In the background, whispers from McGregor's corner carry through the chaos. His coach urges him to find a way to escape, to dig deep and summon the same magic that once propelled him to the top. But every moment that passes makes it harder to imagine a comeback. Makhachev's grip tightens, his pressure unrelenting, and McGregor's once unbeatable confidence begins to waver. Yet, just when it feels like all hope is lost, something strange begins to happen. A flicker of recognition crosses McGregor's face and awareness, a spark that had been absent moments before. It's as if, in the face of impending defeat, he's remembered what made him a champion in the first place. McGregor's fists, still sharp, find their way to Makhachev's body, landing a few quick strikes. The Russian winces, but it's not enough to break his hold. However, the shift in McGregor's demeanor doesn't go unnoticed. The momentum is beginning to shift, ever so slightly. The real question now is, will McGregor's inner fire ignite just in time to turn this battle around? Or will Makhachev's unyielding control prove to be too much, crushing the Irishman's hopes once and for all? The clock continues to tick, and the tension only rises. The fight is far from decided, but the stakes couldn't be higher. Both men are reaching the breaking point, but who will break first? The fifth round begins, and the tension in the arena is palpable. Every person in the crowd leaning forward, waiting for the moment that will decide everything. McGregor, bruised and battered, stands tall, his face smeared with blood, but his eyes sharp with a new sense of purpose. Makhachev, calm and collected, still seems in control, but there's a subtle change in his posture, a slight hesitation that wasn't there before. It's as if the relentless pressure he's applied throughout the fight has started to show its toll, and for the first time, he seems uncertain just for a moment. McGregor sees it, that flicker of doubt in Makhachev's eyes, and it's all the Irishman needs. With a primal roar, he surges forward, his legs carrying him with a speed and intensity that defy the exhaustion weighing him down. The crowd roars, sensing the shift, sensing that McGregor might still have one last chance to claim his victory. He launches a flurry of strikes, each one a desperate attempt to break through Makhachev's defenses. But this time, his shots are different, more fluid, more calculated. McGregor's rhythm has changed. He's no longer relying on his raw power, but on his craft, his skill, and his experience. For a moment, It seems like Makhachev is about to weather the storm, to weather McGregor's final surge and clinch the victory. But just as McGregor lands a clean shot to Makhachev's jaw, a wild and powerful strike that rocks the Russian, the unexpected happens. Makhachev stumbles, not from the punch, but from a misstep, an awkward shift in his balance. In that instant, McGregor seizes the opportunity. With lightning speed, he capitalizes on the opening, diving in and locking in a rare, explosive takedown that sends shockwaves through the arena. Makhachev, usually so dominant in this area, is caught off guard, and the fight suddenly changes. The crowd erupts as McGregor, despite the odds, manages to take control. The suddenness of the turn is shocking. The Russian, still dazed from the punch and struggling to recover from the unexpected takedown, finds himself in unfamiliar territory. McGregor, the master of the comeback, is now in the driver's seat, his confidence and precision returning with every passing second. The fight, once dominated by Makhachev's suffocating control, is now being dictated by McGregor's striking and pacing. As the seconds tick away in the final round, McGregor presses the advantage, his energy renewed, his focus razor-sharp. The moves that had seemed distant in the earlier rounds now come with clarity and purpose. He's like a man possessed, his entire career flashing before him, knowing that this moment, this opportunity, might be his last chance to reclaim his place among the greatest. And then, with a movement so swift it's almost imperceptible, McGregor lands a knee to Makhachev's midsection, followed by a brutal uppercut that leaves the Russian dazed and on the back foot. In a stunning turn of events, McGregor, once the underdog, now stands in a dominant position, his arm raised in victory as Makhachev crumples to the canvas. The referee steps in, signaling the end of the fight, and the crowd erupts in disbelief. It was the perfect storm of skill, timing, and heart. McGregor had defied the odds and proven once again that he could not be counted out, no matter how bleak the situation seemed. The Irishman, bruised and bloodied, stands over his fallen opponent, his chest heaving with exhaustion and triumph. But the story doesn't end there. As McGregor celebrates, basking in the roar of the crowd, an unexpected twist shakes the foundations of the moment. Makhachev, though clearly defeated, rises slowly to his feet, a smile crossing his face. It's not the smile of a man who has lost, no. It's the smile of a man who has learned, who has been tested and refined. The Russian raises his hand to acknowledge McGregor's victory, a gesture of respect, even in defeat. And in that moment, something strange happens. The rivalry that had defined their fight gives way to mutual admiration. McGregor, in a rare moment of humility, extends a hand to Makhachev. The gesture is not lost on anyone. This is not just a fight between two men. It's a passing of the torch, a realization that the world of MMA is always shifting, always evolving. The torch of greatness that McGregor once held has now passed to Makhachev. The Irishman, standing on top of the world once again, understands that his legacy is no longer just about titles or money. It's about moments like these, where respect and honor come above all else. As McGregor exits the cage, his name still echoing through the arena, a final thought lingers in the air. Can McGregor rise again, fully reclaiming his crown, or will Makhachev's dominance prove too much for anyone to overcome? The answer to that question will unfold in time, but for now, the fight between them will be remembered as one of the most thrilling, unpredictable clashes the sport has ever seen. And the fight for supremacy? That's a battle that will continue to burn long after the last bell rings. The final twist, one that no one saw coming, is a lingering uncertainty. Both fighters have now proven that they are not just warriors, they are legends in their own right. But the future is unwritten, and the world waits for the next chapter in the saga of McGregor and Makhachev. What comes next for these two warriors? Only time will tell, but this fight, with its highs and lows, its moments of brilliance and despair, will forever be etched in the annals of UFC history as a testament to the heart, the skill, and the never-ending pursuit of greatness that defines the sport.